That's not happening. So I think this is where the money and people are there to do it. That is not an issue. In the recent World Economic Forum, for the first time, the international companies are also saying we are willing to put up with the hurdles in India and do it.
I have a comment here.
Space.
We were also helped by the Soviet Union in a big way, post-Nehru period and post-Nehru period. They went on giving us a very big facility. Hindustan Mission Tools in Ranchi and all that. We couldn't utilize it and slowly it all became sick. That was one way of development. Another is the Japanese way of development. They say that we make something small but keep plenty of scope for future growth. That's what is India, because nobody can foresee what will be the potential of our national growth in economy form.
But this is
something
required.
where
There is no question about it.
I give you example of Konkan Railway. It was built, beautiful system, but they didn't realize what will be the potential of that sector growth in the Konkan area. And if I wish the planners had given thought of the second line parallel. Of course, the money might not be there, but at least whatever bridges you make, tunnel you make, leave it for the second. Now it will be a totally different project altogether to set up the second line. Similarly, roads, rails. In America, each goods wagon, the goods train, pulled by 2 or 3 locomotives, and that will be about 4 kilometers long. I'm sure the cost of movement of one track of this train is much cheaper than individual 2 separate trains. In Indian Railway, our load carrying capacity is less. Similarly, roads, bigger chassis. All over Europe, if you go, the chassis are much bigger. They are carrying more load.
See, in fact, I've been to so many conferences, seminars, people meeting. Most of the people, they talk that things are not happening with the speed. Now, you have to understand the complexity of things happening out here. Like in 60s, 70s, a lot of bright Indians, they went to USA, they studied there, a lot of them got settled, 80s, 90s also, it continued. And it's the same thing which I'm talking. So they will get $100,000 salary, lifestyle, house, fixing, everything is fine. So in 90s we started with, Bangalore itself, the roads are not there, programming, getting a low salary, working. But today, the scene is the guy who is in Infosys or as a company, the IT sector in India is as much valuable as what is there in USA. Tomorrow, IBM wants to have 1 lakh people in India within a span of 3 years. I mean, this will be equal to 40% of their global workforce. In 10 years time, India will become bigger than USA. In terms of numbers, it's already becoming equal. Okay. Now, in spite of all the hurdles, the things have become bigger. So people who are patient, people who are, have you heard of any Indian IT guy from USA who's running his company? There's no one. Everybody has got evaporated. So IT meltdown, all Silicon Valley Indian good guys, VCs, all of them they're packed and closed. And many of them came here. But in India, all companies sustained and they grew and because margins in India were 25 to 30%, while in US you operate with 5% margin with high cost structures, etc. So you look at a very similar thing here. Now, in spite of all inefficiencies, in spite of all delays, in spite of all the policy things, let me tell you, future is here. Okay,
fine. Nobody says no. What our limited point is, our limited point is to achieve this kind of vision.
What is required?
It's not a vision, it's a fact.
Fact.
It's just that
I do agree with you. It's a fact.
No,
So
the problem, Nikhil, is what you said.
Our heart will bleed if you don't achieve this. That's the limited point I'm trying to
if we get 30-40% lower, in fact, our people were saying we will become bigger because they were saying the multiple will not be 5, it will be close to 7 or 8. Let me tell you, supply chain, when you get into that part of the process which can reduce the manufacturing cost substantially by using the advanced supply chain techniques, it could become even bigger than that. Of course, Anand doesn't seem to be agreeing.
Just one question, Ramesh, is there in your studies, have you done anything to suggest that per ton of movement, that there should be the cost of logistics? Right now, from what you have calculated, it looks like we are paying $250 per ton. For moving 500 million tons, you're spending about $133 million. Is that the...
No, that total is not just export import. See, if you look at the ton miles within the domestic side, that itself is 4 to 5 times bigger than what is there for export import. So the logistics industry...
So this 500 includes the local or not?
Yeah, not, 500 does not include the local. That's only the export-import volume. So if you look at the, and that also, tons is not a good measure, it's a ton mile or ton kilometer, which really measures the, the real, and that is 5 to 10 times, I think around 7 or 8
What
times.
should be the cost, taking this, only the traffic at ports? What should be the logistics cost of, let's say we are having 500 million tons of traffic at the ports, to reach its final destination? What should be the logistics cost?
See, for a container, I can give you a rough formula. It takes almost a lakh of rupees to export out a container, from the country, and it has around 10 tons, 10, 12 tons of things. So you're talking of 10,000 rupees a ton. Is the overall logistics cost from the factory to the final destination, which is there. Inland cost will be close to 30,000, custom clearances, everything. So 1 lakh rupees is to the final destination. So you're talking of almost 10,000 rupees a ton for the containerized goods. For bulk goods, it will be lower.
So is that cost comparable to, let's say, a place where the infrastructure is first class? Is $200 per ton? Is it comparable, or it is high, low? Where are we?
See, we don't have that kind of comparison with the rest of the world. Most of the figures are very macro figures, which don't really. I suspect it may be in other places. It could be even more. See, what happens is once the scale becomes bigger, your productivity becomes larger. But whether the labor costs are also high, the capital costs are also high. So compared, let's say, between India and China, that movement, whether in China it is more or less, we don't know. But surely it seems the cost will be a little higher than what is there elsewhere, because there the scale is much bigger. And they are able, even if they have high capital cost equipments, they are able to amortize over a larger volume. And their labor cost, even a driver would earn close to $2,500, $3,000 a month, which is not the case in India.
And certain things have been streamlined, like Euro movement. Any of the container leaving from any of the cities just moves. There are no more interstate barriers. Here in this country, every state is a barrier. Although this VAT and all this thing has been incorporated, but still the toll and all this points are not there. So we are not hearing of the type of.
No, I think, we have no disagreement that the volumes will be large, that the size will grow. I'm just saying, don't translate that into market cap as simply as you're doing. To give you the examples that you are quoting, let's take one by one. Have you seen an Indian software company selling in India and making money? Right? So when you sell from India to US, there is a cost arbitrage, which is what translates into 25% net margin and 30% ROE, and gives you the kind of value.
All logistics companies are getting 25% net profit margin. Can we get to the current sheet?
See, there is a difference. The one that you are quoting, GDL for example, is actually real estate rent. So the question is whether you can grow it at the same kind of volume as you can grow. See, when, I guess you guys have seen Krish, right? In that movie, there is a gentleman who says, just imagine. The problem is that valuation in the market happens when you can say, just imagine. There is nothing just imagine about what GDL can do. Actually speaking, in my view, if the market becomes efficient, you don't need a GDL. Right? It is because we are not able to clear the goods fast enough that you need a place to store it. So if you are saying that, look, rent will be given a 25 times multiple, I don't think it is sustainable.
Also, the land cost will not be the same against near all ports.
So this is inefficiency premium that you are getting. Efficiency, when it comes in, will actually drop the valuations big time. So the question is that yes, there is no question the volumes will grow, percentages will get added. So that is why I was asking that, first of all, how much of it is already there? And two, what is the return on capital that you are getting? See, I am not so sure. We are very sanguine here that the money will come. Look at the numbers. As a government, we are only $19 billion of debt, foreign debt. Right? Our total FDI even now is not more than $10 billion a year. What we are talking about just in logistics, we are talking about $100 billion, most of which have to be debt financed. The only institution within this country who has long-term financing is LIC. There is nobody else who has long-term finance. We have no terminating institutions worth the name anymore. LIC's total premium collection per year is $60,000. That's just $15 billion. That has to pay for municipality pipelines as well. Right? So it's not going to be available. The local money is not available for long term. This is one sector. Power sector. NTPC alone has a 40,000 megawatt capacity to be added over the next 2 years. Nuclear power, the latest that we are talking about, 20,000 megawatts of new power capacity. All of this is debt financed. I think that
financial sector reform